What's up, everybody? I'm George Mossey. I'm here with my co-host, Marshana, Dahlia Spavento. So last night, 90 Day Fiance, the OG season 9 has premiered. We have met four of the couples. And first of all, what stood out to you before we jump into anything? What stood out to you last night?
Nothing really jumped out at me. If I'm honest, the episode wasn't quite what I was expecting. I was expecting more. Coming off the high of the tell-all being so explosive, I was expecting a little bit more, but it was still great. I don't want to hate on it, but it was still great.
It was good. It was good. I felt like it was slow. Like I looked at my watch, and I don't usually look at my watch, right? During the episode. So I felt like it started out slow. So let's talk about Bilal. So he was trending all day yesterday. So he has gotten the attention of most of the people in the country, most of the people who watch the show. And he has OCD, which he says is very minor, which I feel like it's very severe. And he's also hood bougie. He spent a lot of his segment, kind of explaining to us how rich he is and how successful he is, which there's nothing wrong with it. I congratulate people who have worked hard from the ground up and were able to have a lifestyle that is so different from the way they were raised. So I'm not mad at him about that. What I didn't really like was he was trying to trick Shaida, right? Like he wants her to believe he doesn't have money and he doesn't have, and I mean, I feel like it's always good to know if someone loves you for you, but it's also good to just get to know the person and learn how to trust them without testing them and tricking them, right? Like I feel like if you really knew someone, you wouldn't need to do that. Do you feel like that?
Listen, I'm just so annoyed with Bilal, okay? It was just beyond annoying to me that he was trying to trick Shaida. Here's the thing. She said that if she would sleep in a tent if we were together. That's not true. Women don't mean that. Like, we don't want to sleep in a tent with you. If you want a wife and you want certain things, I'm sorry, like finances and how the relationship and how you live, how you eat, it matters. It really does matter. Now, if he's trying to see the difference if she's being materialistic, that's one thing. But I believe his ex-wife, Shahida, when she says, hey, he is a flashy person. You do pose on social media. So I don't know why he thinks he's tricking her. They met through mutual friends on social media. So she clearly knows how you live. Like, it's not like on an app where she has no other points of reference. So to me, it's just a real joke that he's trying to trick her. It's actually quite annoying. And what as annoyed as I am with Bilal about that, there's one thing else that really, really annoyed me. Bilal said last night that the most important thing to him was his faith. Number one, most important thing.
Yeah, he did.
And with Shaida, he had a nikah. And a nikah is the ceremony that you would have in a mosque to marry a man and wife under Allah. Why is he speaking as if he has not made the commitment of marriage to her? He seems offended or like, oh, whenever she brings up children, he just kind of brushes it off. But
Yeah.
that's your wife under in the eyes of Allah, okay? Like this is your wife. He's acting as if he can still see something because I don't think to him the nikah is as important as he said it is. He thinks that the legal wedding is and like he's still trying to test her before the legal wedding. I don't like it.
Yeah, I felt like that too. I felt like he didn't respect the ceremony. He felt as though this was just something that he had to do in order for them to be able to live together.
Sleep together and for him to
That's
have
yeah. I did feel like that. And the idea of him saying that he doesn't want any more kids and then not being honest with her before she gets here. Like that's something that she needs to know before she gets on a plane and uproots her life. So I really didn't like that either. And I feel like honesty is the best policy, and he's a religious man. And, I just feel like being honest with someone, even if you're not religious, is just the best way to begin a relationship. So we're gonna see how this test turns out, right? Because I don't see how anyone, regardless if you think you're in it for the money or not, would react positively to being picked up in a work van and to be brought to a house that was in disarray. Because I don't want to say that the house wasn't in livable condition, because it was, but it was in disarray. The yard didn't look upkept, and there's a lot to it. So we're gonna see how this turns out. So I want to jump over to Kara and
Guillermo.
Guillermo. Thank you, Guillermo, Kira and Guillermo. So she is from Charlottesville, Virginia, and she is 29 years old. And she said in her package that she was a cougar, but it turns out she's only 29 and he's 23.
She's a cub. She's not old enough to be a cougar yet, so she's a cub.
Okay, yeah, she's a cub. Because I was like, I don't think that's the correct usage of that word because a cougar is usually over 45 and the guy is usually in his 20s. So she's met this guy, Giramo, and she is basically lived with him for 8 months, right? And they're in a pretty serious relationship, which is different for 90 Day Fiance. We're used to people getting to know each other during the 90 days. They have already lived together. They have already been starting a life together. And now he's coming over to the US. And she is a balloon creator of balloon garland creator. It's a really interesting thing. I've seen these on Instagram a lot. A lot of people have them at their weddings. A lot of people have them
I had them at my
at
son's baptism last week. They're expensive. They're not as cheap as you think.
really? So these balloon things are expensive?
I spent $320 on one balloon arch, and then I spent another like 75 on smaller arches, and then I spent, oh no, sorry, 320 was the balloon arch and the little balloon table decor, and then an additional 75 for another balloon decor. So they're not cheap.
Oh wow. I mean, I know it takes talent. It looks very amazing and I'm happy for her. This was her COVID business that she started and now that she has left the DR, she was living in the DR and that's where they were together and he's went back to Venezuela and they are working on the K1 visa which is approved, but this gave me a Mira vibes. He has an expired passport and they are trying to travel with an expired passport. And the first thing that came to my mind was Amira's detainment. I was like, this doesn't seem like a good idea. Go
An
ahead.
expired passport, I don't even know what happens. I tried to go to Switzerland once for the weekend. I'm like, oh my God, I'm just going to go to Switzerland. I've been before. And I show up at the airport and my passport's going to expire in 5 months, right? No big deal. I have a valid passport. It expires in 5 months. They turned me away at the airport and would not let me board my flight because they say you need at least 6 months of validity on your passport in order to go to Europe. And I'm like, well, I'm coming right back. Like I'm coming back on Monday. Like it's Thursday. I'm coming back on Monday. But so I don't even know what they do to you once your passport has like actually like expired. Like I don't even know what happens.
I know, I'm worried because they're going to be trying to travel internationally with an expired passport. And we know that you can be detained, you can be held in cells, and they could send you back on a plane back to where you came from. Like there's a lot of different things that are not good in any scenario. So we're going to see how this goes. I'm really worried to see how that turns out. And they made a big deal about it during the package. So I feel like something is going to come of it. So we will see. And then we did see that there are some issues with them in their relationship. That Cara has cheated before, and she was, for some reason, took him to her high school reunion and met her ex-boyfriend. And there's a lot of drama here. So
God, your high school sweetheart, it wasn't real. Like, why do people think it's real? Like, big deal. Whoop-de-doo. You cheated on your high school sweetheart. Okay, let's move on. Come on. High school at that point in their life was like over 10 years ago. Let's let it go.
I agree 100%. All right, guys, that's it for part one. We're going to come back to part two and talk about the rest of the couples. Jabri and Miona are a standout for me. I cannot wait to see the rest of this season. South Dakota, Black people in South Dakota. I can't wait to talk about this. Guys, I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Marshana Dahlia. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for live tweeting with us last night. Live tweet with us every Sunday during 90 Day Fiance, the new season, season 9. We'll talk to you guys really soon.